Hello, it's a pleasure to have you with us on RTD channel for the English news edition. Top stories for tonight are: the head of state, Anglais, who has regained the capital after taking part at the summit of the New Delhi International Solar Alliance. And the Minister of Health, Dr. Jamal Mukhi, met the Turkish medical delegation. Let's go to the details now. The head of state, Anglais, has regained the capital after taking part alongside other heads of states and foreign government from all the continent to the International Solar Alliance summit held in New Delhi, the Indian capital. Upon his arrival, the president was greeted by the Prime Minister, the Speaker of the Parliament, as well as other members of the government. The place of the solar energy in the global ambitious process fight against climatic warming was at the center of the discussion of this international conference. The debate also have, especially in light of how a strong political commitment is the source of success in the energy transition of a country. Let's not forget that the Republic of Djibouti is in phase with the ideal pursued by the international conference. The objective 100% clean energy at the horizon 2021 established in Djibouti reflects the political will of President Gheli. The Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed has received Mrs. Marilyn Gigas, who assumed the function of General Physician of the French Army's pre-position in Djibouti. The meeting took place in the presence of the Interior Minister Hassan Omar Mohammed, the Director of National Security Hassan Saeed Khairi, as well the Secretary General of the Prime Minister Naguib Abdullah Kamil. In addition, the General of the Armies is accompanied in this working visit by the Director of the Service of the Health of the German Armies, of which several staff are currently deployed on Djiboutian soil within the framework of a Franco-German military partnership. The General Medical of these armies makes a working visit in the country in order to strengthen cooperation between the French as well as Djibouti health services. Discussion focused on the framework of the strategic defense partnership between the Republic of Djibouti and France. Topics of common interest for defense and military training have been at the center of discussion. And after the encounter, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed elevated the General Medical Officer of the armies of the rank to the rank of Commander in the National Order of 27 June. The Pan-African Parliament President Roger Nkodo-Dank left the capital after a 3-day work visit that allowed him to meet the country's authorities. Mr. Roger Nkodo-Dank was received by the Djiboutian head of state, by the Prime Minister, by the Speaker of the Parliament, as well as several members of the government. And during his discussion, Nkodo-Dank focus on the ratification of the Malabo Protocol, a convention aimed at strengthening the prerogative as well areas of competence of the Pan-African Parliament. On his departure, Roger Nkodo-Dank was hailed by the Djiboutian MPs, members of the Pan-African Parliament. On health file now, the Turkish medical mission composed of 20 medical specialists and surgeons arrived Saturday in Djibouti, where a warm welcome on the tarmac of Humbuli International Airport has been provided by their fellow Djiboutian, led by the Director General for External Relations in the Turkish Ministry of Health, Dr. Salami. This Turkish mission will lead a surgical caravan in the Republic of Djibouti as part of the bilateral health cooperation with Turkey. Shortly after their arrival, the members of the Turkish mission visited the reference hospital on Saturday afternoon to assess the working conditions and to see firsthand the arrangement made by Ministry of Health for this purpose. And during their stay, the Turkish medical mission will carry out surgical intervention in the field of cardiology, pediatric surgery, gynecology, ENT, plastic surgery, urology, visceral surgery, cardiology, as well orthopedics. Thanks to this fruitful cooperation, the Ministry of Health intends to use all this Turkish expertise to provide care as well as assistance to as many people as possible. The Ministry of Health has received also in his office the delegation composed of senior officials of the Turkish Ministry of Health, led by the Director General for External Relations and Turkish Head of Mission Selami Kilik. The Turkish delegation was introduced to the Ministry of Health by the Ambassador of Turkey. Let's not forget that presence of the Secretary General for the Health, Salah Banoita, and the Director of the General Peltier Hospital, Hussein Mohammed Hussein, as well as many executives of the Department of Health who took part in the important meeting. While welcoming the delegation, the Minister of Health, Jama' al-Mawkiye, immediately expressed his gratitude to each member of this delegation, saying that their presence today in Djibouti faithfully reflects the exemplary solidity of the ties and secular relation between Djibouti and Turkey. And as the head of delegation, Salami Kilik did not miss to thank the Minister of Health for the hospitality, and the head of the Turkish mission sent a letter from the Turkish Minister of Health to his Djiboutian counterpart as a testimony of the friendship and fraternity that bind the two brotherly peoples. And in a press briefing, the Minister of Health, Dr. Jama' al-Mawkiye, reported on this meeting with the Turkish officials and related the mission point that were discussed. The Minister also issued a final call to the people of Djibouti to take advantage of this surgical caravan. The Minister urged all those who require these medical benefits to hurry to register and take advantage of the presence in Djibouti of these Turkish expertise. The Ministry of Health also recalled that all the necessary steps have been taken, indicating that the conditions are met to ensure success in this surgical mission. Another news now, the Minister of Commerce, Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, went to Rwanda, where he took part in the first meeting of the African Ministers of Trade of the African Union. This meeting was held from March 8 to 9, 2018, and was focused on the negotiation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. And during this trip, the Minister Delegate in charge of trade, Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, was accompanied by the legal advisor of the Prime Minister, Kalsouma Ahmed, and his technical advisor, Roble Mohamed Barre. The purpose of this meeting of the Ministers of Commerce was to adopt a legal instrument submitted from the African Continental Free Trade Area. And still with the national news, the Minister Delegate in charge of decentralization, Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, has received yesterday afternoon the mission from the headquarters of the French Development Agency, who will stay in Djibouti from March 11 to 15, led by Mrs. Helen Julien, project manager and head of finance Paul. The mission was accompanied by the director of AFD agency, Philippe, and a senior executive from this office. Philippe Collignon presented the mission of the AFD headquarters and the purpose of its presence in Djibouti. He indicated that it comes to ensure for the agency of Djibouti prospection, to enable him to better understand the stakes and the needs, but also to accompany him in the identification of a project of support for decentralization. And in turn, Helen Julien explained that the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs has transferred to AFD the competence of financing a bilateral project in the area of governance. She said that since these components constitute a new sector, department has integrated as a possible sector of its intervention in Djibouti. The Minister Delegate for Decentralization, Hamidou Mohamed Aramis, for his part, welcomed the mission and did not miss to thank the Director of the agency in Djibouti for his initiative. And regarding the Ministry of Women and Family, as part of the activities carried out after the celebration of the International Women's Day on March 8th, the Ministry of Women and Family and UNFD jointly organized a forum on women's rights, and this forum has opened this morning at the People's Palace. The debate of this forum are led by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Women, Mrs. Yasmin, and the President of the National Commission of Human Rights, Mr. Suleiman. Have taken part at this meeting, the coordinator of the listening, guidance and information services, representative for IOM as well Ministry of Women. The purpose of this workshop is to discuss all issues relating to violence against women and the legal text condemning this act. Under the patronage of the ambassador of a servant of the two holy mosques in Djibouti, Abdul Aziz bin Abdullah Saud, a religious attaché in close collaboration with the Ministry of Missions Affairs, Culture and Waqf, has organized this morning a ceremony dedicated to the launching of religious and cultural competitions. This annual event was held at the headquarters of the Saudi religious attaché in the Haramuz neighborhood in the presence of senior officials of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, Culture as well Waqf, including the Executive Secretary of High Islamic Council, as well as members of Juris Committee and representatives of non-governmental organizations and other guests. This initiative is part of the program and activities of the religious attaché at the Embassy of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as part of the efforts to promote cooperation between Djibouti and Riyadh, particularly in the religious and cultural field. And during the ceremony, the participants followed a projection on the competition organized last year, and the closing ceremony is sponsored by the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Djibouti. The National Police has organized this morning at the Idris Abani Center training courses to train officers, trainers from the National Police. This training recall will last for 2 weeks. The purpose of this meeting is to strengthen capacity of the officers, trainers from the National Police, and let's point out that this training is led by an international expert. The UDC proceeded in Galamo, the Dakhil region, to the delivery of solar lamps to school children of this locality. About 80 students were able to benefit from solar lamps. These lamps will allow children to study in better conditions, especially to do their homeworks and overhaul a night at home. This solar lamps project was funded by Car Hamid Association based in Brussels. And on the occasion of the International Women's Day, the Association for the Promotion of Sports and Cultural Activities of Women, in close collaboration with the National Olympic and Sport Committee, has organized a sport week dedicated to women in front of the City Hall of Djibouti. There will be a different competition including football, volleyball, taekwondo as well as judo. Let's note the presence of the president of the Association for the Promotion of Sport and Cultural Activities of Women, accompanied by the president of the National Olympic as well as Sports Committee of Djibouti and the steering committee of CNOCID. All participants of this competition have been rewarded by trophies and medals. And to wrap up this edition, in this obituary, we have learned with the sadness and deepest regret the death of the Lieutenant Colonel Mohammed Ahmed Wais from the National Police, better known as Garrile. The deceased Mohammed Ahmed suddenly died the night before yesterday at home at the age of 56. The deceased, who began his career as a police officer on June 1st, 1986, had risen many grades as soon as he graduated from the police high school in France, where he received training as a police inspector from September 1991 to May 1992. Since the deceased Lieutenant Colonel Mohammed Ahmed Wais was entrusted with many responsibilities within the National Police as commander of the vice squad, the investigation brigade, as well the field arrondissement. The late Mohammed Ahmed Wais also participated in the peacekeeping efforts of the Republic of Djibouti alongside the international community, such as the UN peacekeeping mission in Ivory Coast in 2008, where he was commander of the police force and also a commander of a police force established in Darfur between 2015 and 2017. He leaves behind him 4 children and a widow. The leadership of the National Police sends its deepest condolences to the family and relatives of the deceased. May Allah welcome him in its eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So that's it for the news. Thanks for being with us on RTD channel.